Ah, there we
Live,
go.
live.
We're live. Yeah, yet
And
again.
we're early,
We
so
are just
what
a
do you
bit.
think? What do you think the options are? Do you think people will jump in?
I well, we'll see. We might just be talking to each other for the whole time because we're
Yeah,
so early. Yeah. This is like,
that would
when
be
have we
like
ever been
normal.
this early?
We're always talking to each other.
Yeah, that's true. When have we ever been this early though, Pops? I don't know that we've ever been this early.
Well, early is not in the DNA.
It's not in the Hoffert DNA, is it?
No.
That's right. Yeah. I'm just taking a second and sharing this around to all the various potentially interested parties.
Yes.
So we are live for our end of month dream show. And we're a little bit early. This is our Friday, end of the month, the last Friday of every month. We go live for an hour talking about dreams, visions, and all the strange things that happen to us in this journey called life. And so here we are. You know what I found out today, actually?
I don't know what you found
One
out
of
today.
our guys that we like listening to occasionally, Michael Heiser.
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah.
You like good old Mike, right?
Well, he
And
passed
the
away,
Naked
but
Bible podcast. And yeah, he passed away earlier this year, was it?
I think it was about a year and a
Last
half ago, maybe.
last year, maybe. Yeah. Um, Michael Heiser appeared on Coast to Coast, the radio show.
Oh,
Did you know that?
I did not.
It would seem
Oh,
to
yeah, because
be.
he was talking about aliens.
Yeah, he was probably
Yeah,
well, I don't know. I've got the episode put into my watch
he would.
later queue on
He
YouTube.
used that the discussion of aliens. So because he was addressing the Nephilim and all of the giants in the land and that sort of a
Right.
thing, and where do they come from? So he got invited to
Some strange places.
yeah, he would get invitations and he would take them, and some people got very upset about it, but he would
Oh
go in
yeah,
there and
sure.
he would then present the gospel.
Yeah, I thought
And
this is amazing that, of course, Michael. It seems like a match made in heaven. Michael Heiser showing up on the Coast to Coast. For those of you guys that don't know, Coast to Coast, the AM radio show. So how long has it been around for? Like 30 years or something? Like I remember, 20 years. I don't know. They talk about all kinds of weird extraterrestrial stuff and
yeah,
strange phenomena and not Christian. And
no, it's
no,
certainly they're talking a lot about
but it does tell you.
aliens.
It
Yeah,
tells you about the culture's fascination with the abnormal,
right.
right? That
The unexplained.
the
Yes.
unexplained, right? It's like um when we reach the limit of our understanding with something happening to us, well, how do we explain that? And you get these shows that have been going
Yeah.
forever that are quite popular, and it's like, yeah. I mean, that it's in a way that's why Joe Rogan's so popular too, right? Because
Yeah.
he talks about some of this phenomena that is
Yeah.
difficult to come to grips with.
So
So,
Susan, was it a good dream?
yeah, that's the
Was it a
well,
good dream you had this morning?
yeah, that's right. Good to see Jim and Susan. Hey, everybody, we are live for our monthly dream interpretation show. Last Friday of each month, we go live. We're a little bit early because of some scheduling things that we had to work out, and but we're here. Um,
I'm drinking my
so
home roasted coffee.
there you go. I don't have any coffee in front of me. That was a mistake, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, if you're just tuning in, please give the video a like. If you're on YouTube, like it. If you're on Facebook, share it to your wall. Let people know that we're going live, and maybe we'll have a few more people jump in
Yeah.
13 minutes at our normal going live time. Right? Yeah,
So
yeah,
we'll be done early this time too.
yeah. We will be done a little bit early this time. That's right. If you have as the deal always is with the Dream Show, post your dreams and your questions in the comments, and we'll be happy to take a look. What kind of our framework is, if we don't interpret dreams of people that aren't here on the broadcast. So you can't say, well, my friend had a dream about me and I want, because we need to ask questions, we need context, and so that
Right.
makes it difficult.
Right.
We ask for shorter dreams. um and we'll do our best to work through them. And our goal is not to interpret as many dreams as possible, but to help you see our process of breaking down a dream so that you would have the ability to break a dream down on your own. And you wouldn't always need Josh and Ken to do it for you. So that's our goal.
We do. We are very nice people, but
I think we are.
Yeah, it's good to be able to do it on your own.
Yeah. So if you have dreams, if you have questions, put them in the comments there. Here's the I was saying to my dad, I think I've got just a topic to get us started this morning.
Okay.
And it actually kind of segues from the Michael Heiser reference.
Okay.
Because it goes into the
So
Bible
we're going to
Project.
talk about aliens today?
No. Well, no. It
Like,
goes into the Bible Project.
Kind of aliens. We're not talking about, the aliens that seem to dominate the news waves in America.
Goes to the Bible Project guys.
Okay.
So he was connected with them via Logos or the
Well, he did. Yeah, he was you talking about Heiser?
Yeah, Heiser was
Yeah,
connected.
he worked for Logos for quite a few years as their Hebrew scholar.
Yeah, and I think
at least one of them anyway.
The Bible Project guys are connected there somehow. Anyway, that's my rough connection segue from Michael Heiser to the Bible Project guys. You recommended a series of talks that they did on the Bible Project,
right?
On the podcast on cities, yes, and how God's idea was a garden, man's idea was a city.
Yep.
But when you get to Revelation, God seems to incorporate man's idea in the whole plan. And
the city is a garden.
The city is a garden, and the garden is a city. Exactly. Yep. So really fascinating stuff to talk about there. But in any case, one of the things that he said, and I found this really fascinating when I was listening the other day, and it's gotten me thinking. He said in episode 2, whoever the main guy is that does all the talking, I can't remember his name. He said, when you look at the term build in the Old Testament, in the Hebrew, that it is almost invariably used in only 2 different contexts.
Yeah.
The word for build. And hey, Justin, great to see you. Susan, thanks for sharing that dream. We'll get to that in a sec. He said that it's almost only ever used in 2 contexts, overwhelmingly, in the Old Testament. And the 2 contexts the word for build in the Hebrew is used in is building a city or building an altar.
Mm-hmm.
And that got me thinking about the way that people talk, one about, we can go fivefold ministry, charismatic churches, prophetic, all that kind of stuff, right? The kind of language that we use. And especially when we're tying into here, when we're tying into how politicized prophetic ministry has become, or the church has become as well, right?
Yep.
How do we talk about ourselves when we're talking about ourselves? Do we talk about ourselves in light of building a city, or do we talk about ourselves in light of building an altar? And that's the kind of conundrum, or the thing I've been thinking about lately is, the rah, rally the troops, we're in a culture fight, all this kind of stuff, right? Which I wouldn't necessarily say is untrue. But when we see these threads in the Old Testament, they either talk about themselves in light of building a city, which puts the defenses up, walls you in, and says, we're going to win this fight, or building an altar, which calls everybody back to, Justin, that could become dangerous in the church. Yeah, that's right. It's a good thing that we don't have any grandiose plans to be really popular or famous or anything, right?
Oh, yeah, I have some.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm the one saying it. I don't.
Okay.
Are we building a city, or are we building an altar? Are you establishing your church, or are you building a resting place for God? Building resting place for God, by the way, is building it in your own heart. And it's established there. And it's interesting when you start thinking through the kind of language people use, because here's the thing that I've come to know is that when I'm listening to certain people, there'll be something I hear where I go, I don't know about that. There's just something that doesn't sit with me, and I can't figure out why. And I'm starting to realize it's because, as I've been thinking about this, anyway, this is my current process, is I think they're talking about city building, and I'm over here wanting to build an altar, and it just doesn't jive together.
Mm.
And so I'm going, I hear this person saying this, I hear this person saying this, and this person, there's something about it that doesn't sit with me. And that's great. Go build your city. There's obviously God incorporates the city in the whole plan. But
Mm.
I'm going, I think my call is to build an altar, and it makes a lot more sense. And I find other people that are talking like that, and I go, oh yes, this is what we're doing, is building an altar.
Well,
Right.
and as you go through that series, that they talk about how every city fails in its it it denigrates, or not denigrates, but devolves into human protection in some
Yeah.
sort, or human stuff that has nothing to do with God. And the only city that, for a period of time, really did begin to live or exist in a garden state was Jerusalem under
Right.
David, but only for a period of time.
Very
And then
briefly.
it also faltered and failed
Yeah.
as well. So
Through human intervention, it faltered and failed. Yeah.
exactly.
Human weakness and human brokenness.
Yeah.
Great to see you, Sarah. Good morning to you as well. Sarah's also just discovering we've gone live a little bit early today. In a way, it reminds me of just a plug for the Win Ministries podcast, where you and I have been talking through issues of recovery and wholeness when it comes to our spiritual growth and maturity, right? So for those of you that haven't been listening to the Win Ministries podcast, we've had some great episodes going up the last 6 or 7 weeks. You can also find them on YouTube as well. This where my dad and I talked through, actually the last one, we talked through the function of the amygdala. We're diving deep into the weeds and some of this stuff. The function of the amygdala when it comes to the formation of your brain and spiritual growth and spiritual health. So you can find those episodes either on the Joshua Hoffert YouTube channel or on the Win Ministries podcast, any podcasting platform you use. Anyway, one of the things we were talking about was how the fact that humanity tends to gather in cities tacitly demonstrates how human beings expect life to be different than it actually is. So, because we go self-protective and we go, well, the way the world doesn't work for us because we would starve and die in the world.
Yeah.
Now we need to gather in cities because the way we want life to be is different than the way we find life to be. Right. And so we almost recognize just in our own broken humanness that life should be different than it is, simply by gathering in communities to protect each other. And, if life was just a byproduct of random happenstance, well, why even bother gathering into cities in the first place, or communities to protect each other? So, that's the humans' attempt to put control over creation, the variable elements that tend to decimate humans, right? Wild animals, extreme weather, the inability to grow food and feed ourselves, that kind of stuff, right? So on some base level, humanity actually recognizes life should be different than it is, and just in how we compose ourselves. And again, where are we, and this goes right back to the biblical narrative, are we protecting ourselves, or are we entrusting ourselves to the Father to care for us? Which is what Jesus really challenges people in Matthew 5, 6, and 7, especially Matthew 6, right at the end of Matthew 6. Don't you know that your Father takes care of even the sparrows and knows every hair on your head? How much more can he take care of you? Why do you get yourself so worked up and so anxious trying to take care of yourself when he'll take care of you? And anyway, so lots of thoughts, and
sorry, I'm getting
no, I know you're working on getting
Susan's
getting
dream up there.
Susan's dream. Sarah has a
recurring
dream there. So again, we're 15 minutes in. We've gone live a few minutes early because we have some scheduling things we have to work through. So we'll be going unlive a few minutes early as well. And welcome to the Friday Dream Show. Last Friday of every month, we go live interpreting dreams and answering your questions. So post your questions and comments in the comment section. Post your dreams, and we'll do our best to get to them. So we've got a couple dreams in there. Dad, do you have any ready for us to go over? He's working on it.
1 second here.
He's working on it. It's good to see everybody, though, digitally. Justin, Sarah, Susan. He's bringing it up. Are we going to go to Susan's dream?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's okay. We can do that. Let's see. What do you have there, Sarah? Recurring dream, high school, can't get to classes, needs to, don't finish them because I don't have the material. Let's see this one real quick. Don't have the material.
Yeah, we could do Sarah's before Susan's.
After I've been there a couple of times, yet I'm still graduating. I'm confused. I've passed classes. I've met the credits. I need to. So this is a really common dream. You want to kind of go over that one?
Yeah, it is. And it's a good, because it is kind of gives us an idea too of I'm just pulling up a link real quick. This is a good plug for the podcast, by the way. So I'm going to put a link to the podcast in the comments if anybody wants to check it out. There. Yeah. So, there's a couple different things in here I'd like to address just right offhand too, is the fact that it's a recurring dream and the fact that it's in high school. So those are very common elements in our dream language. And this kind of dream, I've got a class I need to get to, I've got a test I'm supposed to take. They all kind of fall under the same thing. And
when you're having it in a recurring fashion.
Yes. So a couple things to consider when you're having a recurring dream is the last 4 weeks or so Sarah's been having it is a recurring dream can be that there's a particular theme that's playing out in our life that we're trying to wrestle with and we haven't quite grasped it yet. And so it's a way that the Father's kind of bringing different angles, because usually a recurring dream, it's not exactly the same. There's one or two elements that are different typically, but the theme is largely the same thing playing out. And a lot of times
and the simple things are like, what do you do at school?
Yeah, that's right. Yes,
I'm trying to learn something at school.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Yes, exactly.
And why, if I can't learn, if there's something in the way of my learning, if I can't get to my class, if I can't figure this out, if something keeps getting in the way of me learning, I graduate, but I don't feel like I've actually done the things I'm supposed to do to graduate.
That's right.
So I feel like maybe I'm not as good or as well prepared as other people for the things that I have. It looks like I've gotten past it. I got my degree, but I think I skated.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of the feeling in the dream there. Right. And so Dad, I remember our recurring dream. I remember you telling me about this years ago, that a lady came to you. I think you were running like a dream training or something. Maybe it was one of the outreaches where she'd had the same dream for like 60 years.
Yes. It was at a dream booth. Yeah.
At a dream booth. Yeah. And when you guys interpreted it, it was like, oh my gosh, that means that.
Yeah, she had it since she was a child.
Yeah, like almost weekly or something, wasn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, it was just constant.
Yeah, that's so these things can really drive you crazy, right?
Yeah.
And So anyway, a lot of times you're wrestling with a particular concept, you're trying to grasp it. There's something the Father's trying to teach you, show you. That's why a recurring dream would happen. There's other reasons why, but that's typically why. So again, in this one, a dream where you're in high school typically talks about, because we go to high school to learn not the most elementary lessons, but some of the, the high school is a place of higher learning, right? You're starting to learn algebra and geometry and more advanced English and composing essays, and you're learning sciences and stuff like this, right? It's not like your base level learning, elementary learning.
Right.
It's some of your more advanced learning to prepare you for life. So that's the context of a high school. Why a high school? Well, a high school talks about a higher place of learning. So there's lessons, there's certain things that you're learning that are not simple concepts to grasp, basically, right?
Yeah, it's not university, but it is higher education.
Exactly. Yes. Right. Yes. Susan, I don't know that it's. She says it's my connection, or does the feed keep freezing? It's not freezing on my end.
Yeah, we're not having issues here. So if anybody else is, just let us know, because we're not aware of it.
Yeah. So go back to Sarah's dream. So high school, place of higher learning. There's lessons I'm learning or grasping, and trying to take a test or get to a class, like Dad, like you were saying. I feel like I just never quite pass the thing that I'm supposed to be understanding.
Well, right? Yeah, and it's gonna translate out into I think other people probably are more prepared than I am.
Exactly.
And I'm just gonna try to not be seen, because or kind of scare. I'm just gonna not have a conversation about whether I did well or not. But somehow I'm in this group. Maybe I shouldn't be. I don't think I'm supposed to be. I think I didn't do it right. So it's a self-confidence thing to some degree, Sarah. Maybe I don't fit in, when the reality is you do.
Yeah, which is evidenced by.
Yeah. And the reason you're having a dream is because it's time to address that.
Yeah. It amounts to I don't necessarily feel like I fit in or am quote unquote getting it.
Yeah.
But the implication of the dream, the direct message in the dream is no, you belong here.
Yeah.
And you are getting it.
And
right.
You did graduate.
You are graduating, right? You have passed. You can't pass the classes without doing the work. You've done the work.
Right.
Now, sometimes because of the context of our family of origin, our culture, all those kind of things, I was just listening to some people talk about this, where I grew up in a culture where what I do is never enough, right? Well, that's not reflective of the gospel. That's reflective of the culture of origin, right? So I've not done enough. Well, in the dream, you obviously have done enough, because you're graduating. You may not feel like you've done enough, or you may not feel like you've grasped everything perfectly and completely, but the dream's going, no, you're in the right place, doing the right thing, and you are learning the kind of lessons that you need to learn. And it's a beautiful dream, because the question of, am I in the right place, doing the right thing? Am I learning what the things that I need to learn? Am I fitting in? The recurring nature of the dream is yes, you are. Good job. Exactly. Right? You're graduating. Right. You're doing well. You're passing the class.
You're passing it. You're getting your graduate. You're getting your degree. You've made it through.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know why you.
You might not think you have.
Yeah, but you have.
Maybe you don't think you're ready to move on to the next big assignment or the next big thing, but the dream's going, actually, you're still graduating.
Yeah, and
your teachers think enough of you.
I love your Facebook photo. It's great.
Oh yeah, that is a good one, huh? Yeah. That's right. All right, where are we at now?
We've got quite a few people sending in short dreams. We're going to jump on Sarah's dream.
Let's just put this up.
Yeah.
Sarah's dream sounds like God is saying, you're passing all the classes because I'm teaching you, but you don't realize what it is I'm teaching you. Relax, you're graduating. You aren't just focused. You just aren't focused on what I am doing. Yeah, you're graduating. Exactly. You're graduating, and I like that. Yeah, Susan.
Yep.
That's right. Where are we going now, Dad?
We are going here.
To Susan's dream. All right, here we go, Susan.
All right,
it's your
Susan.
turn.
We
And
know
we've got-
you're on because you just commented, so we can do this. All right. So she had this dream. She said she had it just waking up this morning.
Then we'll get to Amber's dream and Premla's too. So you guys keep tuning in. Don't run away.
Don't run away. Oh,
We'll get to you guys.
Berta had a dream too.
Oh yeah, and Berta. Yeah, we'll have time to get to each one of those.
So Susan says, I had a dream this morning where I was with a group of people in an outdoor setting, and there was a lean-to, or more like a roof with poles holding it up, an area you could get out of the rain in. Then there was a building without a wall, and inside was Sean Bowles at a desk. Then his wife further away at a long table. So, Susan, I'm pretty sure I'm going to just say you probably don't go to Sean's church, but if you do, let us know. But if you
Susan doesn't. Susan's in Canada.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
She's in BC.
Okay. Right. So we'll talk about Sean as we go through this. He was telling us to pray, and so we began. And it was somehow about his son. I got down on my knees, and after a while, as a loss for my own words turned into tongues, and prayed even after everyone left. I was rolled up in a ball, laying on my side, praying in tongues. Then I got up, and Sean said to come to him as he wanted to teach me something. I sat beside him and placed my hand over his leg. One finger touched him on the opposite thigh, and I quickly withdrew my hand. I told his wife I hadn't meant anything by it, and I was slightly embarrassed. I had no idea why I did it. She was fine, and then Sean began to speak, but I don't recall what he was saying. Something about praying more for him and telling me that my prayers did things for him. As I began to pray some more, I think a tree sprang up, and it had little gift boxes in it. Then I woke up.
Oh, and she says, I don't know if you saw this, Dad.
No.
I was in his online community for a few months just before summer.
Okay.
Okay, so that brings a lot of context to that.
Okay.
Right. So
because then it helps us understand your connection to Sean.
Exactly. You were learning things about Sean Bowles, not about, but learning things from Sean Bowles and the online community just before the summer. Well, and I'm assuming, how long ago did you have this dream, Susan? Did she say that?
This morning.
Oh, just this morning.
Yeah,
I had a dream.
She woke up from this dream.
Okay. Yeah. This morning. Yeah. So that's the context there. So it's interesting. What you have is intercessory prayer is the main theme of this,
right?
Of this dream, right?
Right. Because she's intercessing up here, right?
Yeah.
Got down on my knees, and then she's doing it again down here, and two things. And so we have a repeating theme, and that's always something you want to look for in a dream, is a repeating theme.
Yeah.
So it's after Sean teaches her something, she prays again, and things happen.
That's right. Yes, that's right. So, in a way, Sean Bowles represents the Lord, and I'm thinking Revelation 19:10, right? The spirit of prophecy, which is what Sean is known for, is prophetic ministry, is the testimony of Jesus.
And you can say that because he's a man she has confidence in.
Exactly.
She learns from.
Yes.
He's pastoral to her in some capacity.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're looking at.
So we're not just grabbing that out of thin air and saying. We're saying it because within the context of the dream, he would
in the context of Susan's life,
right,
and
the dream, right,
the role that Sean Bowles has played in her life. That's what the Lord uses Sean as imagery to communicate something, right? The spirit of prophecy, the presence of Jesus, the testimony of his presence, that kind of stuff, right? And so the first is, right, you're in a group of people in an outdoor setting, right? It's just like you're in community learning stuff. So let me get this right. He tells you to pray, then he teaches you, and then you pray more.
Right.
Right.
Tell them
That's
to pray.
kind of the whole context, right? Like, it's Sean represents the spirit of prophecy, the presence of Jesus, this, and he goes, pray, now let me teach you, and you pray more. Like, the whole context for this whole thing is prayer.
Yeah.
What is Susan learning?
Right.
When he teaches me, and so the place you find yourself is actually a fairly intimate place with him, right?
Right. A little, you find yourself, you feel like you're a little too
Am I
close.
supposed to be
You're a
this
little
close?
too
Right.
close.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And he was asking you to pray for his son. Yeah. Yeah. I'm a little bit too close, but it was, is it okay to be this close? Right. Is it not okay to be this close? Right. That's the thing. That's the question right there. The teaching moment is, it's okay to be this close. Right. That is the teaching moment. It's okay to be, what's the lesson that Susan learned in intercessory prayer? It's okay to draw close to the Lord, that it's perfectly fine to put yourself in that position.
Yeah.
Right. Do you have anything to add, Dan?
Well, yeah, because you want to look at the what happens when she has put herself in that position and learned and done that, is that here.
Well, I guess you may have found yourself, let me just put it this way. You may have found yourself in that position of closeness with other leaders before. Not, it's a metaphor, right? I don't mean that you're touching guys or anything.
Right.
You may have found yourself in the position where, I don't know if I can actually be this close to others, and I'm not comfortable with that. And the Lord's going, no, it's okay for you to be close to me.
Yeah. It
Right.
feels too intimate for me.
Yeah.
And I think I'm crossing a line.
Yeah.
And that's understandable in the context of this dream. So again, we're talking about the dream here. We're not talking about your experiences in life with different people. We're talking about the dream.
Exactly.
Within the context of this dream, that was not an issue.
Right.
It just reflects that you are welcome to be that close.
Yeah.
You've been invited to be close.
Yeah. And nothing sexual happened, right? There's no so it's not like we're trying to justify that. It's
I know we get really caught up with that in our culture.
Yeah, for sure.
But the reality is, in your dream, it's not a big deal.
Right.
It only is a big deal to you.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think that's the important part of that part of the dream, is it's only a big deal to you.
Here's the thing. Here's a thought that I think is in this dream. It's the phrase where she says, he talked about praying that her prayers did things for him.
Yeah.
Right. Something about praying more for him and telling me that my prayers did things for him. Right.
Right.
And because when we're talking about a prayer life, a devotional life, we typically think about okay, I'll put it this way. A couple of years ago, I was set to go speak somewhere, and I was sitting down with the Father going, give me something for the people, fill me up so that I have something to give, blah, 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 that kind of thing.
Right.
And in that context, as I was getting ready, I went into the bathroom, I was brushing my teeth, all that stuff. I felt like the Lord spoke to me and he said something to this effect. And it was a very tender thing that he said. So hear it this way. He said, when are we going to stop talking about you so we can start talking about me? And I realized that I had made prayer about me and not about him. And it was about the effect upon me. Like, I need peace, I need centering, I need this, so that I can go do, quote unquote, the work of ministry. And so I turned it into a format as opposed to knowing him. And I had this thought the last 6 months or so where prayer is not so much us experiencing God, but it's him experiencing us.
Mm.
And I've given myself now to him.
Right.
So the focus isn't on me getting something into me. The focus is now lifting myself to him, because he's everything.
Yeah.
And so I love that phrase, that something about my prayers were more moving for him than they were for me. You know,
Mm.
that's kind of the thought there, is when you pray, it actually does something to me. And I think that's the perspective of the Lord. When we pray, it moves his heart,
Mhm.
because we're giving ourselves to him. And I it's just like this flow is, okay, I've been told to pray so that I do, but now I'm learning things about this place of deep intimacy in prayer. And I'm not sure that I'm okay with it, because am I allowed to go there? And it's like, no. Where you're going is okay.
Yeah.
And like you were pointing out, this tree springs up and has little gift boxes in it.
Right.
That you're going to find moments along the way that are greatly beneficial to you.
And trees in Hebrew and Christian scriptures are significant.
Yeah.
So it's not a little bush that springs up; it's a tree.
Right.
And there are two trees in the garden. There's trees, this and that. Trees represent all kinds of different things, but
Yeah.
they represent gifts from God, and
Yeah.
this is full of gifts.
Yeah.
So what this dream really says is, when you come close to me and engage with what I'm doing, you're going to see the thing. You'll see more and more
Right.
of the gifts get it popping up.
Yeah. And you see, Susan has basically said that in her last comment.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. God's been showing me very intimate details about people. He does this as I pray for people. They are very touched by his words. In the last week, there have been 3 people who met Jesus for the first time and accepted him as their Lord and Savior, which is, those are the
I
gift
don't think I could interpret it better than that.
Yeah. Those are the gift boxes. That's right. That's right. Great dream.
Yeah. Very, very much so.
Yeah. That's great, Susan. We just bless you to be in that space. Yeah.
All right, let's go back. Amber, are you still with us?
Let's bring that one up.
Oh, wait. We got Premla first. Let's go to Premla.
Oh, Premla. Yeah.
Premla, are you still with us? So in this, Premla says she had a dream. She was in a hotel, and there was a very loud shooting outside, and there was a panic, and we were prepared on what to do if it repeated or came closer to us, but it passed us and didn't recur. In the next scene, I was relaxed and smiling and dipping in a swimming pool. I think she said something else on this. Maybe not.
When did you have the dream, Premla?
That's what I thought she said. It was like 4 months ago or something like that. Did she put that in there? Am I missing it? Oh, that was Sarah who said the last 4 weeks or so. Okay. No.
Oh, just 3 days ago.
Yeah, 3 days ago. Okay.
Right.
So she's in a hotel. And so one quick question. You said that we were in a hotel. So who's the we?
Yeah. Did you recognize other people?
Yeah.
And did you know
general we, or do you know the people?
And was it a what hotel? Was there a brand to the hotel, a room that you were staying in?
Yeah, anything like about the hotel.
Yeah, anything. Yeah, or that you were. Yeah, were you on a particular floor? Were you on a vacation? She could see her late father there.
Okay.
And did you interact with your late father? Like, was he just part of the group? And that's the only one that you recognized?
Okay.
And
staying in a room. Okay.
Don't know the name of the hotel, right? Or the room number, maybe, or the floor of the room was on. You can tell that we've done this a lot, because these are the kind of things that happen in dreams where the number you're staying in a hotel and you're it's very common where, and that not every time.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
Yeah, so you want the details. That's why we ask, because the
Yeah,
details can.
yeah.
They
They can actually make a difference.
Right.
Yeah.
So she said he was panicking and preparing, taking precautions. So her late father was with her, and he was the one panicking and preparing.
And were you panicking, Premla? Were you going, or was it just him and the people with you?
Basically, it's like, what are we going to do if it gets closer
gets
to us?
in
How are we going to prepare ourselves? How are we going to get ready for this thing? And I'm suspecting it was just him who was panicking, but just tell me about that before I go on with my next statement.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Because the juxtaposition here is significant.
Yeah, that's right. She doesn't
Okay,
remember.
so she doesn't think she was panicking, right?
Right.
Which would make sense. So you in the next scene are simply relaxing
Yeah.
and dipping in a pool. There's panic in the first part of this. There's no panic in the second
Yeah,
part.
they're totally juxtaposed. And here's another thing to point out, Dad, is oftentimes when we interpret a dream where someone's father is in the dream,
Mm-hmm.
we may be tempted to say, well, that is God the Father,
God, right?
But now that we know that the father was there and was panicking,
Yeah.
And well, what's going to happen? Well, that's not an action that God the Father would take.
Well, it's completely out of the character.
It would be out. It would be out of the character of God the Father.
Right.
So that's where we have to go. Okay, well, who does the Father represent? And because it's not God the Father, but that's where we look at some of those characteristics and go, does that make sense with the character of God? No, it doesn't.
So then you're saying it could be family. It could be, family patterns, or it could be someone who is more fatherly in your life, who is not, who doesn't have a lot of peace.
Yeah,
That's what this is saying. Is the first reaction is not peace. It's a dangerous situation, and you would not, you wouldn't just say, oh well, whatever happens happens.
Yeah.
Wisdom says I prepare if there's violence outside of me. Panic is the thing that's interesting in this, because we have in the first part panic, in the second part peace.
Right.
So somehow, Premla, you've stepped outside of the pattern of your family.
Yeah.
Where normal the pattern is, we react to situations, but instead you found yourself beginning to learn to relax and have peace.
Right.
Why? Because you're dipping in a swimming pool. You're in the water, Premla.
Yeah.
You're in the water. And
which is
in
being
that water,
in the Spirit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the water is the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've discovered a place of trust and rest.
Yes.
Yes. And I would hazard a guess that because it's your father and then a bunch of nondescript people.
Yeah.
So I'd hazard a guess that you've seen that pattern also play out in other people that have been in leadership positions, in spiritual father, mother positions, where
had that kind of influence in your life.
That you've gone, oh, they're freaking out about this stuff, but I'm not really concerned. I just trust the Lord. I love Karen's comment there. You're passing with honors in my book, Sarah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And it's just an affirmation, Premla, to you that though other people panic, you found a place of trust and security in the Father.
Yeah.
And the generational patterns aren't something that you carry into this generation.
And I'll take one more thing out of this for you, and that is that this happened in a hotel room, which means it wasn't a permanent thing for you. You found a way past it. It's so when you're staying in a hotel, you're not staying there for the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a passing moment, and and though there was panic for a while, it's not there now.
Yeah, that's right.
Though you used to react that way, you don't now, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's right. Now we have
We are going to
Amber,
Amber.
who
Yes. Now
is
she
Amber.
says-
Is that said? Amber, are you Bobby Sparks or are you Amber Clemens? But I know Bobby. Bobby's been following the podcast for a while now, with Murray and I. Or are you both?
Ooh, yeah, could be.
Oh, Bobby's your dad. Okay, great. Wonderful.
All right.
It's good to have you on the show, Amber.
All right. So here's what Amber says. In my dream, and just let us know when you had this dream, would you, Amber?
Yes. Yes.
And we have about a 10-second delay, and so we'll wait for we'll go through this dream for a minute while you're typing that in.
Yeah.
In my dream, I was preparing
dream.
food for people who were coming over. People kept eating it all, and I was getting food out of our cabinets in every drawer. I was asking myself, how is food everywhere when I normally keep it in the pantry? Then I woke up.
Right. Yeah, I know Susan. I said I love Amber's dream. Yeah, that's a great dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple of different questions. I mean, we could interpret the dream right there, but a couple of different questions. Do you know what kind of food it was? Was there any indication of that? And the you said people were coming over. Do you know who was coming over?
Yeah.
Was
there
it
anybody was it like a specific group of people?
Yeah,
or was it just
yeah.
in general people?
family members, friends, workmates? Was just or non, like, I don't know who they were. They were just people.
Yeah.
And that can help us localize it to a particular sphere of your life. If there's didn't know the
Snack,
people,
party
bodies,
foods,
not
know the
faces.
people, saw bodies but not faces.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Yeah. Go
Yeah.
ahead and do this.
Yeah, so that tells it's more of a general, this is the kind of person Amber is and the kind of
Yeah.
family that she stewards, right? The atmosphere is I love this, that people people are coming over and you've got more than enough to take care of them.
Yeah.
Right? If coming out of places you never even expected it. Right. That's the whole point of the dream, is your capacity to care for people is much greater than you thought it was in the first place.
Yeah, because you thought
Yeah.
everything you had was in the pantry, but
I thought it
actually
was-
it's
yeah.
everywhere.
It's
Yeah.
everywhere. I've got stuff everywhere to take care of these people.
Yeah.
It's coming out of the drawers and
When did it get there?
Every-
How did I come
Yeah.
from there? Yeah.
so I thought my capacity was one thing, but I'm seeing actually it's much higher.
Yeah.
And your
And
capacity
I'm able to take care
Yeah.
of everyone who comes.
and feeding people is offering them spiritual nourishment so that they would grow and they would be satisfied in the Lord. That's what feeding people means. So you're
Mhm.
instrumental in and what you're, and I think she said they were like snack party foods. So
Right.
you know how to help people have a good time.
Yeah.
As well, right? It's not you're
To
not
find
making them
joy.
hamburgers.
You know, you're able to help people find joy.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not an elegant meal. It's we're hanging out and we're having a good time. That's the
Right.
kind of party foods, right? So exactly. You help people find that place of joy in their life. And you have a great capacity to do that, much more than you ever thought that you did.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing. It's what is the kind of dream when it's nondescript people tell there's a call on your life, Amber, to help people find joy, to give them spiritual nourishment, and to take care of people in the place that they're at.
And you'll have more than enough to do.
And you'll have more than enough. Yeah. Yeah. Karen, you have the ability to satisfy people's desires without you realizing it. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. That's a great dream,
That
Amber.
was excellent.
Yeah. So we bless Amber, we bless you
Mhm.
in the joy-filled life that you live, bringing joy to others. We bless you in that.
Just making sure I didn't miss
And
it.
we've got Berta's dream, I think,
Yep,
right?
we do.
That might be the last one.
It certainly will. Yes. We started, just so those of you who don't know, we did start early today because of scheduling stuff. And
That's
so
right.
we are going to be finishing early today too.
That's right.
So this is Berta's dream. She said she's named it Rats and Paper. I
Okay.
was told to go to the Capitol building, and under it, the rats would give me crumpled paper. Okay. You're talking about the Capitol, then you're talking about rats. Okay, let me get back to this. I was told to go to the Capitol building, and under it, the rats would give me crumpled papers. The wood was rotten, and the rats dug up the papers. I tried to smooth them out and didn't see any writing on them. When I handed the papers to a person, he said, "What is written will be revealed in the future."
Okay. Well, this is an interesting one,
Yeah.
right? Obviously. Yeah. So, yeah, Susan, I like Susan's comment. LOL. Yeah. So is Bert, are you still around? Can you answer some questions? Bert is usually pretty good at tuning in.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I want to make sure the Capitol building, by that I'm assuming she means the
Either state capitol or the federal capitol, one of the two. Yeah.
yeah, that's Bert is there. Is it the state capitol, the federal capitol? I'm assuming it's the federal capitol. I mean, that would make sense. So because this is the federal capitol, yeah.
We're not going to talk about debates here. We're not doing that.
So the paper that this is the interesting thing. The person goes, what's written on the paper will be revealed in the future, right? That's called prophecy. Right.
But it's the rats that are giving her the paper.
Exactly. So key things buried will surface, right?
Yeah.
So it's the rats that are digging up the papers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. She had this last Sunday. Okay. And it's the rats that are digging up the papers and delivering them to the people to read, so that the things will be ostensibly there'll be things revealed in the future, right?
Things that only rats can dig up.
Yes.
Because they're under the floorboards, and in the wood is rotten.
Well, here's the thing though.
They're buried.
Yes. What a rat digs up and gives you probably don't want to trust. Right. That's right. This isn't, it's not.
That's what I mean. Only rats can do this. Right. Yeah.
This isn't the revealing coming from heaven. Right. This is rats revealing things.
Right. But it has nothing on it.
But it has nothing on it. So there's no substance.
Yeah.
They're actually, it's things that are there. Right. Yeah. And there's a way that is being passed off as prophecy. This is going to be revealed in the future. Okay. But realistically, it's just the foundations are coming to light. God's not exposing it. A bunch of rats are exposing it.
Yeah.
Okay. And has to do with the politics.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's the Capitol building.
Capital. She's gone to the
federal Capitol building.
The very source of where things come from.
What you're watching and what people are saying are not derived from heaven's perspective, though that might be true that there's a bunch of stuff in the ground being brought out and unearthed, right? Yeah. These are rats doing this. It's not angels doing this. It's not the Holy Spirit doing this. It's not prophecy doing this. It's rats doing this.
Yeah.
Right. So you're watching a broken system crumble.
Well, and I think the other thing, broken system crumble, and the rats don't know what they're exposing. They're just being rats.
They're just
giving you paper that doesn't seem to have anything writing on it. They just, it's indiscriminate.
Yes.
Like, hey, we found paper. Here it is.
Yes. There's a lot of there's a lot of political commentary out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of social commentary out there.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of
and it's only going to get better. I mean, worse.
Yeah, it's not going to get any better as we go into the election cycle. It's not going to get any better. Yeah. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to pass it off as prophetic revelation, but really it's just rats doing rat things.
Yeah.
Okay. I think
there's really nothing to it.
Exactly. There's nothing to it. There's nothing on the paper.
Yeah.
So I think it's a caution to us to be conscientious about what we pay attention to when it comes to the political cycle.
quick
what's coming
question,
out of the
or
Capitol building.
do you know who the person was that said that?
Right. Yeah. Do you know the person?
Don't say it's my
Yeah,
son.
it
or
was my
something.
pastor. Or, yeah, I know her pastor well. He's a great guy. So, yeah. Yeah. No, she didn't know the person.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
No, and
should have
that's why I
said,
don't
Berta,
think.
what you should have said,
Yeah.
well, actually, Josh, it was you.
Yeah, it was me. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, don't listen to me then. Yeah. So it's just be conscientious about the stuff that's going to be unearthed.
Yeah.
And because
And I think that's wisdom right
it
there.
is wisdom. It's very
Yeah.
easy to go, well, this thing's come out, this thing's comes out, this thing's comes out. Well, the Lord's exposing it all, right? That's the language that we use. Well, the Lord doesn't need to, like Jesus says, like everything that's hidden is going to come to light eventually. You can't hide things.
Right.
It's not because the Lord needs to expose it. People do people things and they get exposed.
Yeah.
Now we don't need to claim prophetic revelation. We just say, yeah, what's underneath the Capitol building, there's a lot of junk, right? So it's just, let's not try and pass this off as prophetic revelation.
Yeah.
Let's just call it what it is.
Recognize that it's a lot of junk that
is
for
coming
200
it's
plus
coming
years humans have done. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good dream actually. So it's helpful.
Yeah, that's right.
To not get sidetracked.
Yeah.
I think that's what the dream was really saying to you. Don't get sidetracked
that's
by
right.
the things that purport to be revelation, when in reality it's just rats and paper.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watch how they scurry around and show themselves, Karen. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
True.
Well, Dad, I think with that, we're going to call this one to a close.
We are going to. Yes.
Yeah.
That was a good dream.
A
Bunch of good dreams today. You guys did well.
That's right. So, Father, let's do this first, actually. The Wind Ministries Dream Show is an entirely listener-funded event, as are all the podcasts that we do and all the stuff that we do. And, so I'm going to put a link here. If you guys would consider donating to support the ministry and to support what we do, that would be wonderful. You can do that at the donate link and it's tax receivable in the US and in Canada. So we would thoroughly appreciate that. So that is there. So with that said, everyone, we bless you to dive in deep into the Father's heart and to be immersed in him and to know him and to find rest in him. And so we bless your dreams. We bless your night season. We bless your coming and your going. We bless those intimate times of prayer that they would deepen and increase. We thank you all for joining us in the journey. And amen.
Amen. See you next time.
See you next time.